Hello, Anjali Gopalan, head of NAS Foundation, a non-profit group in New Delhi that works on sexual health, is with us. She's an activist working on the LGBTQ issues for many decades and is here to talk with us about the implications of the verdict given by Supreme Court on the same-sex marriage case. So, Ms. Gopalan, welcome to the Federal. Can you give us a quick backgrounder to this case, since you've been involved in these issues for a long time? Can you just give us a brief backgrounder of this particular case?
We got decriminalizing of the community happening finally in 2018, right?
Yes.
And after that, clearly one of the next steps that had to be taken was to start looking at rights. So there is a couple of gay people decided that they will file for equal marriage rights.
Okay.
And that's how this came about. And
that was in 2022, I think, November 2022.
Yeah, they filed. Yeah,
two same-sex couples for filed the case. Okay.
Filed for marriage equality.
Yes.
So that's how it happened.
Okay. How?
But
I mean, what has been gone into fighting for this particular, right?
I mean, when you start looking at it, actually, marriage is an issue which many people, especially people like me, have always said that look, it will get the most pushback, right? And for someone like me, it makes sense to look at an anti-discriminatory law, an overarching anti-discriminatory law, so that everyone is part of that process.
Oh.
So, yeah, because marriage is something people go into such a tizzy about.
Yeah.
And anyway, in this country, people have been getting married, including gay couples. The only thing is you don't have any legal rights.
Oh.
And what you need is legal rights.
Correct. But isn't that important? Sorry, but
Huh?
Isn't that important as well to have legal rights?
See, I think you should take it step by step.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, ideally, people do want to get married because, for whatever reason, you feel that's one way of ensuring, of showing your partner how much you love them, correct, commitment, and all of that. But the point is that I knew we would not. I somehow didn't feel that the courts would grant equal rights at this point.
Oh, you were sure. I mean, you were quite sure.
Yeah, it didn't seem. Yeah, it didn't seem that way. But definitely, what I did think was, look, it's really how long are you going to keep denying rights to your own citizens, right?
Yes.
In a country which is a democracy, you have a bunch of people who don't have equal rights, which doesn't make sense.
Correct.
So I felt that maybe they would at least give some kind of civil rights. But not only have they not done that, they have actually said that even something as basic as adoption.
Yes.
They have said that gay couples can't adopt.
What are the other civil rights that?
So the other civil rights would be inheritance, would be whatever other rights that go with marriage. For example, you cannot take a loan as a couple if you're not married.
Okay.
You cannot get insurance. You cannot benefit from the insurance of one partner if you're not married.
Correct.
So civil rights could make sure that you get all of that. So what is the big deal about that, right?
So how do you feel about this verdict then? I mean,
I'm obviously very angry and disappointed because of the way things have panned out. Even I'm going back to adoption because actually our adoption laws are very strange. If you are a live-in couple, heterosexual live-in couple, even then you cannot adopt a child.
Oh.
So and we have so many millions of children just languishing in homes because no one has adopted them.
Yeah.
And the assumption that people who are together but are not married cannot create a loving, caring home doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So So yeah, I mean, it was very disappointing.
Yes.
But it's not all gloom and doom, and I think we have to take what we can.
Yeah. What are the
Get
positives
it.
in your opinion
So,
in this work?
yeah, so there are two things which I think are helpful. One is the courts have actually really told the government and the police they have to look at discrimination in a particular manner. They've expanded the definition of discrimination.
Oh, in what sense?
So
Can
that
you
is
elaborate?
good. So, for example, an
Yes.
example is that they have said that the police cannot enter a LGBTQI person's home to question them on their sexuality,
Oh, okay.
right? So, and these are issues that we are grappling with every day. So it's a good thing that has happened.
Yeah. So now there's a legal backing to that.
Yes. So
Okay.
at least you got some security on that front.
Yeah.
Then the other thing that they did was for the trans community. They said, we already have the NALSA judgment.
Yes.
So now they made it really clear that a trans person
Yes.
can marry another trans person
Yes.
or a cisgender person
Oh.
and get all the benefits of marriage.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
So from this entire spectrum of LGBTQIA plus, the trans community is the only one who has secured some rights.
Why is that, in your opinion? Why is that?
One is the NALSA judgment, but also I think there is a different way of looking at trans in this country. Of course, there is this confusion between trans and hijras.
Yes, correct.
And somewhere in the minds of authorities, very often, and this is true even for general communities,
Yes.
they think of hijras as women, at least as in the feminine.
I see.
So, yeah. So I think it's a very confusing space, right, to understand. But definitely the trans people have got some benefits, right, which the rest of the community hasn't.
Okay. Any other positives, Ms. Gopalan?
No, these are the only two things I can see.
Okay.
But yeah, because it's really sad. It's the other thing that has really scared me is they said it is the job of the legislature to do this.
Yes, we want to talk to you about that, basically.
Right. So that means you are asking Parliament to do this.
Yes.
And I think that means we are stuck now for a very long time.
Yes. Is there any hope there? Because, after all, we have the BJP which is against this, right?
No, it's not about BJP being against. Even the earlier government, when we were fighting for decriminalizing,
yes,
the UPA was equally bad.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
So it's not like one government is better than the other.
Oh.
But, yeah, they're all the same.
Okay.
But of course, the fact that, half the time, as you know, Parliament doesn't even hold any kind of discussions. Laws are passed arbitrarily.
Yes. Hurriedly passed.
Parliament is barely sitting, yeah. So it's really, to me, I feel like we may have gone backwards rather than forward. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my next question. What is the implications of this verdict?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
But
I believe somewhere in the judgment, I haven't yet read this myself. Entire judgment myself because we haven't got it.
Yes.
But I believe somewhere in the judgment, and I'm saying I believe because I haven't seen this myself.
Yes.
Is that there is the judges have said that till the Parliament looks into this issue,
yes,
states can take up this issue on their own.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Now, if that is right, it gives us some leeway. But if I think about it, if there is a positive judgment from one of the states,
yes,
and it gets challenged, then what does that mean? Does that mean we go back to the Supreme Court and they say, look, we've asked Parliament to take care of this?
So the ball will just being pushed from one court to another. So there's no real hope for this particular
I won't say there's no real hope, because I think one cannot give up hope, right?
Yes.
It's very critical. This is something we're all very committed to, because not only marriage is just one of those issues.
Yes.
There are, in a democracy, everyone must have equal rights. I'm very clear about that.
So that is the crux of the entire issue, in your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. On what basis are we denying rights to our own citizens?
Yeah.
Just give me one logical response to that, then I'm willing to listen. But if you're not able to give me that response, when I'm saying you, I meant the authorities and the government and whoever, or religious groups or whatever, then really denying these rights is not kosher. It's really awful and horrible. But so therefore we have to keep fighting, and I think we have to strategize differently. I think we really need to now work with parliamentarians. We have to work more in general communities, because we also have to change attitudes.
Yeah, that was my question.
What are politicians responding to?
Yeah, that's my question. Like, why is it so important for them to get legally married? I mean, when there's so much hatred, from the community at large, parents are forcing children into conversion therapies.
How are you looking at marriage? No. See, my point is, if you get what is it that we need? One is we need recognition of a couple in society.
Yes.
Now, when you have civil rights, you do get that recognition at one level.
Yes.
And in a culture like ours, marriage, you go into any temple, get married, no one, hey, big deal. It's not such a big deal, right?
Yeah, but
no, but of course, my point is for people who want to be legally married, in the way that society looks at marriage and accepts marriage, then of course they should have every right in the world to do it.
Okay, I get that. Okay.
So therefore, it is important for marriage also to exist, marriage laws, equality in marriage laws also to exist.
Yeah. But, this leads me to the question as to whether there has been change in the way people are looking at cures. So, but you're saying it's still very hard for lesbians. It's very hard for people to come out even now. It's all still at that stage, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because especially for lesbians, right? For lesbians, they are the bottom end of the totem pole, because nothing challenges patriarchy more than a lesbian, because she's saying, I want to spend the rest of my life with another woman, I don't need a man. That doesn't go down very well with society.
Yeah.
Right? So, and anyway, women's sexuality is something that is not something that gets, talked about or even looked at.
Yeah.
So, this is, whereas I think at some level male homosexuality is accepted in our culture, long as they don't ask for rights.
Yeah.
Long as they do the right thing, get married, have kids, all of that, right?
Yes.
It's a very dangerous kind of space for the community. And at the end of the day, everyone should have a right to be with the one they love. And the whole thing, marriage is that, showing that you also, of course, also the fact that marriage secures property and all of that.
Yes.
Right? But marriage also is a way of making a commitment to an individual and telling them that you really love them and want to be with them for the rest of your life. Whether you end up being together for the rest of your life or not is another matter.
Yeah.
But at least that, that's how society, and a culture like ours, there are no spaces for single people. Everything is in the context of married couples.
Yeah, there's not much right for single people.
No. Yeah. No, nothing. Zero. So given all this, I think it's really sad that we are in this situation today.
Yeah.
Where you have absolutely no rights. Unbelievable.
And
I'm so angry with the courts. They could have looked at some kind of civil rights. Why didn't they use this opportunity? And by the way, one thing that you see, whenever the courts pass judgments like this, the impact on society is tremendous. For example, when homosexuality was decriminalized, it made it so easy for people to come out.
Yes.
It made it so easy to hold discussions around acceptance and inclusion and all of that. So today, because the courts have said no to marriage in this manner, then what is society going to say? Look, we always said this was wrong, and now even the courts, and that to the Supreme Court, is saying the same thing. So, the space that people within the community have to be able to discuss these issues has completely been whittled down.
It makes them more vulnerable in some ways as well, right? Like they feel they don't have rights, like you said. It puts you in a vulnerable position.
Extremely.
Yeah, it's a bit of more than a setback. It's really it's gone backwards, this whole movement.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
We've gone back hundreds of steps. It's really pathetic.
So what next in this fight for the LGBTQI?
I'm now thinking, and this is my personal response and the response of maybe the organization I work with.
Yes.
Is that we really need to start looking at forming larger coalitions. We really need to look at working with parliamentarians, with the police, with some of it is already happening, but we need to scale it up maybe. We need to get community groups together, and as multiple groups see what are the next steps we should take.
But that point you made about working with parliamentarians, that makes a lot of sense because since the Supreme Court has thrown the ball in the Parliament's court.
Yeah.
So, but has there been any committee formed earlier, parliamentary committee that's already looking into this or anything like that? No,
nothing. And now they are planning to set up a committee, to look at some of these other rights. But my point is that it's going to be headed by the cabinet secretary. We really need to work with bureaucrats, with parliamentarians, because after all, they are also a product of this environment, no?
Yes.
We need to change the attitudes. We need to make them understand.
Yes, correct. It's a long haul right now, isn't it?
It's a very long process. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To make people change minds is not easy.
Yes. But Indian cinema seems to have come a little way on this.
And therefore all of this will help.
Yes.
At least the media is being a bit more sensitive.
Yes.
Not a bit more. There are quite a few sensitive films and serials coming out.
Yes. Every OTT serial today has one character which...
and done very sensitively.
Yeah, not
portrayed sensitively.
Yeah, it's one of the boxes they tick nowadays, which is not bad.
Which is also what is needed, right?
Yes. Is there any particular portrayal that you really thought was very...
recently Sushmita Sen did that... what's it called? Tali.
Yes.
Which I saw. I thought, extremely.
Oh.
And of course, Gauri, who she portrayed, is a fantastic trans woman. I respect her tremendously, and I just think it was so well done.
I see. Okay. That's good. Okay, then, Gopalan, I think any other thoughts on this that you would like to share with us?
I think many people from the community are feeling really bereft and feeling really sad and feeling like there's nothing they can do. And I just want to tell them, there's a lot we can do, and we really should not give up hope. This is just a hiccup, and we need to get past that.